gentlemen, we are live. We are live. We are finally live. We are here on a Christmas Eve. When they say do a special, do a show on Christmas Eve, and you think no big deal, who knew? You got things to do. You got things to get into. It's simple. I borrowed Veer Mahan's GPS. Took me a while to find out where I was supposed to be going. So, yeah.
I had to give this man directions to find his way here.
Right. But we are here, folks. We are ready to go. For anyone still hanging around, thank you for tuning in today. Merry Christmas to everyone out there. It is Christmas Eve, and just arriving, just like Santa Claus, or before Santa Claus at this point, we are the Wrasslin for Life Network, and this is the 2022 4LIFEEs. As always, I am KJ White, the Iron Man of YouTube, Mr. Every Night, if you will. Here to host with you, and of course I can't do this nonsense alone. I am joined by the What Man himself, the New Year's baby.
Absolutely. What man who's gonna cut on all of that. Absolutely. How you doing? Happy holidays, everybody. Happy Merry Christmas, happy Festivus, happy Hanukkah, absolutely, here on a Christmas Eve, wrapping up 2022 in professional wrestling, and giving our golden KJs, our 4LIFEEs, as the man who likes to, not want the spotlight calls them.
But yeah, that's right, folks. We had a crazy year in 2022. We covered so many things. We went through so many different stories, changes of the guard, different momentum. Christ, I mean, we had Vince McMahon out there, wasting more money than fucking Elon Musk buying Twitter. It was crazy. I mean, we had NDAs, we had scandal. Vince McMahon retired. We thought he was going to die in the chair like the Crypt Keeper.
Right. Well, yeah, we 100% felt like he was going to be the man that passes out at the wheel there and everything. But did you see real quick that your man Elon Rybacked himself?
Yes, very much so. Very much so. Be very careful when you put out a poll regarding yourself. You might not get the answer that you want, folks. So, yeah, I mean, but yeah, crazy year. I mean, we had a brawl at Fallout. We had a dog involved. I mean, our little dog Spot running around biting people, or Ace Steel biting people.
We come back at Mania. We had Bray Wyatt. We had the whole White Rabbit storyline and everything. Mm-hmm. It's even when we were coming up with the awards and everything like that tonight, that it was still interesting to look at it of like, wow, that's actually still happened in 2022. No, that still happened in 2022 too. Oh, that happened too. Holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, it really feels like the tale of 2 years. And I mean, a lot of stuff happened like pre-Mania, I'll go further than that, like SummerSlam, where, things were kind of rolling along the way we were used to, kind of typical booking, typical matches from the WWE. AEW was putting on a really good Dynamite show. And then all of a sudden, here comes Papa Paul, like the, T2000, just I'll be back. And he showed up. He didn't miss a beat.
It's all about the game and how you play it. It's all about control.
And that's where we are at now. Like, we've rolled through a crazy 2022. We will quickly talk to some people and say,
Damien, Hassan, Thomas, Jordan, Jack.
There we go.
Everybody.
Thomas, Nathan. Yeah, we got a whole bunch of you folks. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, whatever you're celebrating. Hopefully you're celebrating. But whatever you got to do to put a smile on your face, do it. We are going to be here. We are going to be here for the next little bit, and we will run you through what we felt were our awards. Now, it's very important, whether it's in the chat or in the comments, watch this live, watch the recording, and let us know what you think. Did we miss somebody? Did we miss something? Do you disagree? But I mean, it's our opinion. I believe we watch more wrestling than just about everybody on the planet, and we do it live. So we're feeling pretty good with the picks.
I'm a stand fast behind my opinions. This man's trying to, walk the line, I feel a little bit, but I will stand firm with my decisions.
Well, that's it. I mean, it's going to be a different vibe, a different award show than you're used to. Yes, the hosts curse and swear and laugh and joke, and we're not going to be so we might look serious, at least one of us.
Right. Really? I'm serious. I'm the serious one here.
You're right. Just quickly before we get into some of these awards, Nick, and start banging them out, and we'll not waste any time with the folks. But For you, when you look back at 2022, like what stands out as like a favorite for you, like as far as the moments go? Like
honestly, I think it's the whole White Rabbit storyline. I think that was super captivating. It was as a fan who likes, the comic books, I'm a little bit of a nerd at times, is a big fan of the MCU, what have you, and all of that. And I feel like WWE now finally found their Kevin Feige and all of that. Of now we're actually having a focus on long-term storytelling. And now, granted, I'm not so fully happy with the payoff, like I guess some people might be with Marvel Phase 4. Of maybe we need to start pulling this shit together now. But that whole buildup of you're constantly looking for a QR code and it takes you 5 different places and you're all trying to make them all make sense. It was that whole kind of mystery suspense element was probably my favorite moment of 2022 because it caught us so far off guard.
Yeah, I mean, I think when it first started happening, we heard the rumors of like people in the crowd are like they're playing this White Rabbit song and everyone's kind of throwing up their lights when it happens, and we don't know why, and the fireflies are back, and you're like, all right. And then another town reported the same shit, and then changing the colors of the lights, and everyone starts saying, is it Bray, is it Bray? And next thing we know, we're just chasing a QR code around like our tail. And it became crazy, man. I think for me, honestly though, my favorite thing of 2022, and I think it's because there's a lot of anticipation heading into 2023. And oddly enough, I'm the Bray Wyatt guy around here. But I do really think my favorite part of 2022 was watching Sami Zayn, come to the forefront of superstardom and really get over. And the Usi thing is wild. And watching him break and make everyone pop around him, I think it's been outstanding from that regard. But
oh, absolutely. That's not a bad shout. I mean, how many people right now, we just watched SmackDown on Friday, I guess, to kind of halfway date this here. But to have the whole crowd chanting Usi and chanting for Sami over Roman Reigns, like you don't get that often. I've said it's their Kofi Kingston, their Daniel Bryan movement right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, we don't know. We're still talking about WrestleMania next year and where it's all going to go. Folks, we will tell you this, and then we will get into these awards. Like I said, it was a crazy 2022. 2023 is shaping up to be even more insane. We still have lingering 22 stories that are going to carry over. Rumble is one of the most anticipated, one of the most highly sold Rumbles of all time. We got to figure out what's going on with MJF, where the future for him goes. We got a lot to get into. WrestleMania, obviously a 2-night event again. It's going to be a fun year in wrestling and a fun year here on the channel. I will take a moment to thank everybody who were a part of our 2022. We are nothing but flattered. We are nothing but grateful. And to go from not existing at all, going from the basement, and for me personally, I kind of got locked out of the place I was hanging out. And just here we are. We said we were going to go from the basement to the penthouse and beyond. And we're well on our way for that. And I owe a lot to the people and a lot of the names we see in this chat already here today. Yeah, thank you very much.
From the bottom, now we're here.
To actually see, a revenue box on the channel, in our studio is pretty cool. So we are nothing but flattered. We are nothing but humble. We are not fake, and I bet you're not a rapper. But that's that being said, folks, let's get into some fun. Let's get into some topics. Let's get into some categories. And it looks here, based on the list, the first category today will be your 2022 Booker of the Year. go. There you have it. Everything is there for you folks. Those are your nominees for Booker of the Year. Now, before we say anything, I don't know if anyone out there has an opinion, but we're going to get right to it. And I think Mr. Big Nick has the envelope.
I was gonna say, so well, we've had like Swerve Strickland was there obviously because of Wrestling Revolver. I know this is Tony Khan's favorite year or favorite award. This
favorite
is the
category.
most crucial thing. Favorite category.
We're not going to make a lot of AEW Tony Khan fans, but yeah, I mean, just if you guys were wondering out there, it's Swerve Strickland or whoever works with Swerve with Wrestling Revolver. They didn't bang out a bad show this year at all, so he made the list. And of course, you know the other names.
Well, and for those who don't know, Scott D'Amore, head of Impact Wrestling,
yes.
and everything. So again, very much, we could truly cover it all here.
Absolutely.
But so I do have the envelope here, and so
wait 1 second. Yeah, you have the envelope. If the chat wants to give us an opinion at any point, they can happily let us know what they think for this category. But yes, Nick, you can
drum roll, please. And the winner is Papa Paul here. Papa Paul, I know only had about 6 months on the job and everything like that, but he very much what he's managed to turn around with WWE in that time and the people he's managed to bring back, I think 100% means that he deserves to be Booker of the Year.
I think we're only beginning. I think he's going to be the Booker of the Year in 2023 as well, because I think a lot of people are talking about impatient and things aren't great. He's literally rebuilding and I mean, sometimes it's harder to rebuild than build. Congratulations.
Right.
And I think for me, the reason why Papa Paul ends up getting, he left. He had a cardiac event. NXT got stripped apart. We didn't know if we were even going to see him ever again. And, next thing you know, Vince gets himself in a lot of hot water. He jumps in. And at minimum, we got the White Rabbit. We got, we've seen the, evolution of Sammy. We've seen a whole bunch of returns. Whether you love him or hate him yet, I mean, it's early. There's time to be the jury's still out on what he is going to do. But I mean, a lot of names that we saw, even like a Karrion Kross, who was completely destroyed by Vince McMahon, gets brought back and, back in that, badass, I'm here to fight everybody here. I'm here to take on the world.
It was correcting a lot of errors that Vince had kind of already made. And I think especially once Hunter took over is when you saw a lot of the weaknesses with, I guess, the reigning, defending, undisputed Booker of the Year award holder, Tony Khan. Now that's when kind of the wheels you kind of started to notice had a little bit of rust on them. Maybe kind of weren't so hot there over in AEW.
Well, here's the thing is Tony was well on his way to being Booker of the Year because he had no competition, right? Like he's running the second biggest company as far as wrestling goes. And, he's doing his thing and everything seemed fine. Everything seemed pretty good. The odd issue here or there. And the next thing you hear, like reports, this person's not happy, that person's not happy. The booking literally, like the ratings are going down. This past Dynamite was the worst rated Dynamite that I had this year. So it's going downhill. And I think he shot himself in the foot, regardless of what Jericho and the Bucks and Kenny all tell each other in that, in the EVP office when they're all hanging out. It's going down, not up, and that's not good for business.
Well, and we saw a lot of people that just went back to WWE that Vince McMahon very much did, and he was on that list and everything, but he was, responsible for, I guess, at least 80 plus, or at least involved in 80 plus roster cuts and everything.
He wasn't going to win. He's there kind of by default, I think.
Right, but I'm saying but a lot of people re-signed with WWE just because Hunter was there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like Hunter changing and the idea that you weren't just going to run through the same system, the same scripted nonsense, the same meaningless matches, that there was potential that, at least with Papa Paul coming aboard, we're getting like 25-minute main events that are real good main events. Like Ricochet Gunther was an outstanding wrestling match. And we didn't have to wait for pay-per-view. It wasn't a roll-up finish. It wasn't stupid. It was a solid match between two guys.
Yeah, Gunther wasn't sitting on the sidelines, and Ricochet wasn't in some backstage segment for like the 4th of July or anything like that.
Yeah, and he's not changing his gimmick completely to big red jackets, the kind of pulled that back a little bit. And so I will give him credit. I mean, I think a lot of people aren't giving enough credit for the fact that he had to come in and undo a lot of shit. You had to write, he wrote Ezekiel off TV so we could get, Elias to come back. He's written other people off TV, so we forget about him. So we take a breath. In that time, we also saw Sheamus get over. We saw the Brawling Brutes get over. I like where it's going. And I think at minimum, we're going to get really, really exciting wrestling content.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll say this, I guess, before if we want to get into the next award and everything. But we've only seen a brief period from Hunter, but what we've seen so far outshines pretty much everybody. I think what everybody else is doing currently. That he kind of, even with a half year of work and everything, he kind of takes the award.
Yeah, I think so. I think ultimately, I like what he did. I can't give Tony the award this year just based on, again, the kind of the nosedive it's taken. And then in addition to that, I mean, Scott D'Amore's been done great. I think Impact had a bit of a quieter year, though. I mean, I know a lot of people like Impact, but I'm trying to figure out, what they're doing. Swerve gets a nice honorable mention. He put out really good shows. Now, obviously, he's not going to win going, he doesn't put together a weekly show, so that pushes him down. Vince gets an honorary mention just because he was there.
Yeah, and what they've done with Wrestling Revolver, for those who haven't watched it, as an independent promotion, as somebody who we watch a fair bit of, even the independent promotions, the smaller promotions, as far as a wrestler-owned company, he's kind of the top guy doing it right now, I feel.
I think so. That's not a bad show, Nick, at all. But with that being said, I mean, it was I'm looking forward to the booking in 2023. We'll see where it goes. Right. But that is award number 1, folks. So if you're keeping track at home, that is Booker of the Year to Papa Paul. Controversial. Right. Now, award number 2. We'll go on to award number 2 now. Folks, coming your way, top independent. You'll figure it out. I love this category. I love this. I mean, we literally could have had an absolute roll of 20.
We could have done a top 10, top 20 list and everything like that, with, like we were just talking about before, of the amount of shows that we cover, whether it be like BCW, Wrestling Revolver, GCW, XPW, all of that. So we really kind of see, all these kind of more, not, your local indie, but at least, have something streaming on Fight and all of that.
True story.
Right.
So, without further ado,
do you want to get right into the winner here?
That would be a yes. 1 second.
Yes. Well, it's out, Miss Allie Catch there. I was going to say you should have this one because that's your girl right there, 100%.
Yo, I was happy when we came to the conclusion that it was going to be Allie Catch because I'm obviously a fan of Allie Catch, and I mean, she has been outstanding. She's been everywhere. She's competed a shit ton. I think there's a list of wrestlers that wrestled a whole lot this year, like the upper echelon, and I think she worked herself in there. We saw her on GCW consistently, and then we got to see her in Impact, and I mean, that was cool. I mean, a Monsters Ball match for Allie Catch this year, that's a big kind of breakout moment for her. No offense to anyone else on that list. We just saw Main Event beat the Briscoes for the House of Glory belt, but Allie, I mean, she goes death match, she goes tag match, she goes singles match, she goes good storyline.
She's been on AEW, she's been on Impact, she's been at GCW. But then again, we also had Mance Warner, who had challenged Moxley for the AEW World Championship. And it also, I don't know if he had exactly appeared. I can't remember if he appeared on Impact, but I know he's been on AEW. And then even Blake Christensen was, I believe, rumored to have signed with, can't remember which of the big two it was, whether it was WWE or AEW. But that's when we kind of had that whole, it felt like he was giving himself his own send-off from GCW.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it felt like a send-off, but he ended up, I mean, he's just been such a staple, right? You can't really complain.
Well, he's a lot of these guys guys and gals have shown up in multiple promotions, and every time that they show up, they're having match of the night, if not close to the match of the night. Like they're making moments that you absolutely don't forget from that show.
No, absolutely not. So, I mean, to your point, man, a great category. I mean, we could have talked about, Alex Colon. We could have talked about, we mentioned, some people kind of flirted between indies and not indies. So it got tricky, but, Blake Christian had a great year and so on and so forth. So to me, the indies are good. I mean, I love the fact that we're getting more, thanks to things like Fight. We're so almost overexposed to wrestling. Like there's so many options, and we've seen House of Glory, we've seen Revolver, we've seen GCW, we've seen a lot of them really come a long way, and a lot of stand-up quality talent in all of them.
Oh, absolutely. And we've been even on stream before and had people of like, well, are you covering this as well? Because we've been here covering 2, 3, 4, 5 streams live all at the same time, because there's that much good professional wrestling going on right now. So this, as much as some of these, these may not always be household names and everything, these are the people that are very much pro wrestling fans know who these people are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So big congratulations to Allie Catch. Big congratulations on a wonderful year. I can't wait to see what 2023 brings for the independent scene and for her and where she may go. But definitely my indie darling. So I was pretty happy that was the name that came out of the envelope.
Number 69 in your programs, number 1 in your hearts.
Okay, he said it. With that being said, you ready for another category, bro?
All
right. We're going to get into the meat of this one. This one's going to be fun today. I'm not even going to say it. Just stay tuned. Boom. And we are back. And yes, best promotion of 2022, Mr. Nick. Yeah, this one's going to be debated, I believe, but
I feel like certain people might disagree with this decision. Certain people will agree with this decision. But so we'll get right to it. So the winner is WWE is promotion of the year.
Coming off the heels of a Papa Paul win, WWE takes home the Golden KJ. As you can see here below us on the screen,
the Golden KJ. See, I'm one of one.
One of one. There you go. I like it. It's a collector's edition, folks. Right. But yeah, the Golden KJ goes to the WWE. How do you feel about this?
To me, it's again with the returns that we've talked about, with the whole shift in momentum since Hunter's taken over, and the effect that I almost feel that had on AEW. They have to be best promotion of the year. They've, even their show in Saudi was huge. Their show at Clash of the Castle was huge over in Wales. They're getting every pay-per-view now feels like a big moment. Everything, they're finally actually getting to where they could have been. Applause from the live studio audience.
Sorry, the audience just woke up. Okay. Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And I think the X factor for here, and I know the AEW fans are going to shit all over this, but listen, AEW took a downturn at the end of this year. At least for close to half of it, it didn't go so well for Tony. The thing is, when Vince was running it poorly and AEW was putting out better shows, they were still finding a way to have better ratings, substantially better ratings. And actually, ironically, now the ratings are closer than they used to be. So it's kind of funny. However, the overall booking, the overall approach, I think there's just more hope and optimism amongst fans with what we're going to get from WWE moving forward. I think a lot of people are highly anticipating Royal Rumble. And I think what a big factor on this one was, you went into Full Gear and a lot of optimism for AEW. And then we got back to Dynamite and it was this shit again.
Oh, absolutely. It was, like I said, it's the thing that WWE had the moment that shifted the landscape of pro wrestling at this point. Now we're having talks about, is New Japan not only working with AEW, is it working with WWE?
Yep.
Is it working, is Impact working with WWE? We're seeing people that are going back to WWE that we thought wouldn't happen at all. Like Christ, Jonah just went back there, Bronson Reed. So I think that while it's like that meme of, not gonna lie, they had us in the first half when it comes to, WWE, of fully under Vince and everything. It just seemed, we were on here talking about how we thought they were going to try and sell the company.
Right.
And now, granted, that may not fully be out of discussion, but it very much seems like now they're putting, their forefront on, we're doing pro wrestling. We're not, trying to sell, whatever movies coming out, what have you.
It's true.
We're not doing 18 million camera cuts. We're making sense here.
Yeah, and that's the way it should be. You want to see improvement. And again, I think what Triple H has been able to do is create optimism. Like, who also is going to come back? And it's not just about the physical body coming back, but it's like wrestlers that we were intrigued by, wrestlers we were interested in, wrestlers that we wanted to see do good that just got snuffed in a Triple H, or sorry, in a Vince McMahon system. So now we look at the opportunity here to move forward and be better. And I'll argue, like, even the bloodline got more interesting and more entertaining over the last 4 or 5 months. They were there, they were dominant, but would have Sami Zayn get the love that he's getting from Vince? I don't know. Right? So congrats. But TK was always I don't know. Bailey might have something to say about that.
Well, not anymore. She's done with that gimmick. Yeah, but that's the thing, is I feel like, and it could be Austin, and I feel like Vince stepping down in the all-out situation go almost hand in hand as to seismic shifts that happened in pro wrestling in 2022.
Mm-hmm. Well, as we covered on our year-end Rumble with top news stories of the year, I mean, it's Vince. I mean, the man who we all kind of realize that without him, wrestling doesn't look the way it does right now. Whether you like it
100%.
or hate it, he is the biggest thing to ever happen to sports entertainment, wrestling. And he stepped away. He retired. It wasn't like he chose to do it. And there was a big party for him. It was a really weird story. It was unexpected. Not the actual allegations, because no kidding.
The
But
Walt Disney of wrestling had to step away.
yeah, exactly. Right. Like, what the fuck are we going to do? And then in addition to that, it was just so much that came out, like, oh, a couple million, more millions, more millions. Hey, wait, there's more people. Like, it's crazy.
But so it's still surprising, like I said, of how that's, that's where WWE was at the start of 2022. And then now under Papa Paul, we're very much, leading the pack here, I feel.
Yeah. And I mean, this is the opportunity. And we've talked about it on stream as far as the other promotions. I mean, GCW, congrats. Like, I mean, they went from, we saw some of the early shows that were just a mess. They're still working out some kinks, like their audio issues.
Fix your audio, please.
However, they got a sponsor for their sweeps. They got picture-in-picture replay. So we watch them evolve and grow, and their shows are generally entertaining and not just hardcore deathmatch. We get good quality wrestling in there as well, and then we get some chaos. So I like what GCW did this year. Big honorable mention to House of Glory, which we mentioned, Revolver as well.
And even with Impact, you're seeing guys like Josh Alexander and Moose and etc. that chose to stay there versus go to WWE or AEW. So very much, again, shout out to Impact as well. Granted, NWA's was up there, and it feels like it's sliding now because now you're seeing Nick Aldis once out. Yep. Like you're starting to see a lot of talent. Like, hold on here.
Mm-hmm. No, but even from a fan standpoint, I mean, I've been watching these NWA pay-per-views for so long. And I always said the one thing you can guarantee is if you show up for an NWA pay-per-view, you'll enjoy it. And the last couple kind of broke that trend. No, I get it. They're not always going to bat 1,000, but we were getting really solid shows. And the last couple just seem a little unorganized, not as exciting. And as you said, now we got talent that wants to leave. So hopefully Billy can turn it around in 2023, but everyone's got to go up against the Giant, and right now the Giant's still at the top of the mountain.
Yeah. WWE woke up and realized, oh, we can do this thing, right?
Yeah, they went into boss mode just when you thought they were down and out.
Right, they went Super Saiyan.
Hello, John. How are you? There you go. 30,000 viewers a week. Yeah, listen, we've debated Impact a lot, and I mean, Impact's interesting because good things happen on it. There's good wrestlers there. Man, it's too bad they couldn't find themselves on it. A better, an actual, channel. We get them on some, actual cable and get to.
Well, I was going to say, Impact. If you want an exclusive deal or exclusive partnership, we do pitch ourselves as the alternative commentary. If you want an alternative commentary and everything, I mean, let's talk about it.
We'll work it out.
People call my people.
But yeah, and I saw the comment there that said that AEW was the worst. I don't think it's the worst, but it's definitely heading that way.
Well, and as much as I know I've sat there and called it the WCW of pro wrestling right now and everything, but it still is not as bad as at times, I guess, even I half the time go off about how it is. So it's still very much, if we're looking at a pecking order or a rankings list, they're very much number 2 out of all of this.
Yeah, I mean, to a point. I mean, I would argue that there are weeks where I enjoy, a fucking, an Impact show over a Dynamite show. This week it was one of them because I don't know what the hell. And I think Impact, if Impact did more live stuff, if they weren't 3 weeks out and that kind of thing, it's tough in 2022 to be 3 weeks ahead of your shows being released. Right? Anyway, Anyway, congratulations to the WWE. It's not the first time. It will not be the last time that they are the number one show promotion that we have. And like we said, our first ever annual 4LIFEEs, WWE takes.
They win the Golden KJ.
The Golden KJ.
Exclusive.
I like it. Now, we're on to the next one, I think. Yes, we are. So, you know what? I'll be honest with this one. There's other ones out there, and fans, the minute you watch this little video, you let us know the whole bunch of ones we missed. This was a tough one as far as like there was so many, and we just ended up here. So enjoy this one. It's a little more whimsical because not everything goes right in wrestling. Let's find out. There you go. So that was that. I mean, those are some of the botches we picked up. Two of them stand out for me a lot, but that is it. I don't know why I'm talking. So go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, well, do you want to go with, because to me, I almost feel like one's halfway debatable. I you know, deep behind the curtain, I know the winner, but I still I think only one of those has actually been imitated. How often do you see a botch imitated?
That's very true, but do you want to get to the winner?
Absolutely. It is Vince McMahon. Speaking of, with WWE, we just won the passing away. But we have Vince McMahon with the man who's taken more stunners than probably anyone in the history of time forgot how to sell a stunner on the biggest stage.
He never took the stunner well. That was the funniest part of it is Vince McMahon has taken probably more stunners than anyone else, and he never did any of them well. He would like stiffen right up. He like he got a Viagra stuck in his belly button. Like it was ridiculous.
Just need to do the rock sell there to where you're sitting there doing a handstand and everything. Right. To me, it's debatable between who had the best sell of the stunner, whether it was The Rock or Scott Hall.
Oh, The Rock would just explode.
But yeah, you're not halfway wrong there. Vince very much showed his age at that moment in time.
Yeah. Now the thing about, I mean, at the end of the day, he's in the situation. It was just funny because, and the clip cut off just a little too quick there, but you can literally see Steve Austin trying to like grab him by the head and pull him in the right direction, and Vince just folded and collapsed, and we lost him. And yeah, it was hilarious. Even you see Austin like get up with a smile on his face, like, what the fuck was that?
No, bitch.
So the Punk one, I know, we just run through a little clip, but that's more of a cumulative where he had a bad couple weeks.
Yeah, well, he had a bad time. Just at the end of the day, I don't know if we want to break it down by months, but he just had a bad time there.
Things weren't going well. And you know what?
Right.
You know when you're like super pissed off about something, you're hyper focused and you're trying to like overachieve and then you end up botching a bunch of shit.
Right.
Yeah, it's you understand why you just fuck it. I hate everybody.
Right, but still, I think that has to go into like a botch Hall of Fame there at one point, because that's the only fucked up move or botch that I've seen that literally has been imitated and replicated like past that.
Yeah, I mean, and actually Thomas has a good point here. The OJ and Colt was I might have to be reminded.
Right, now we're gonna have to do research here.
Yeah, but the Kofi at Rumble was considered. It was high up on the list where the man tries to go for his usual acrobatic spot, and he just completely landed too short. And the best part, I said last night, we were talking about this, is the refs like, yeah, you're out. And like everyone saw it, and the fans are looking at the ref's looking at Kofi, and Kofi's like, oh shit, no, out.
Yeah, that's the thing is, we could sit there and go through a whole list of just all the botches of 2022. But you got to try and trim it down to as few as you can here.
Yeah. No, and I mean, like, it was a couple weeks ago that Moxley ran completely off the ramp, just completely fucking airballed it. Jade's had
Top Dollar just made it in there, and that just happened not too long ago. To where we have the clip out there. So I was calling it, the Tope insufficient funds.
Now that one was a contender, like I know, but it was just so. It was like they reminded me of the Matt Hardy one where Matt jumps up on the rope to.
Oh, Shannon Moore.
And Shannon Moore just whoop.
Hey, that's the definition of matitude right there.
Yeah, that's so long. But Botch of the year has to be Vince, just because it's Vince and Stone Cold at Mania. Holy, like that's the thing. Like what we're talking about this year, like shit, we had that happen amongst everything else that happened.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's such an epic thing, such an epic rivalry. Probably the last time we'll ever see a ring ever again. And here's Vince McMahon, just like you said, he's taken so many of those things, and he couldn't pull this one off. He just got completely noodled.
Yeah, you think Stone Cold Stunner, you think Steve Austin, and you think Vince McMahon, and yet this man just be a human, I guess, in that moment.
Right. But with that being said, we are going to jump into now, folks. This took a whole lot of time to come together during this season, so we do have a list of quick hits of ones that we're not going to go through the nominees. We're not going to go through the big, the big list. Pardon me. We're literally going to give you the winners and get to the point, but enjoy this little video montage of a whole bunch of awards. We'll be right back. How can you not be happy to see me on the street? Right?
It's holiday spirit. Feel that Uzi spirit.
Yeah, and I wish that Maximum Male Model clip was a touch longer, but nonetheless,
that's fine. The power of Uzi compels you.
Right? Just get that shit over with. Yeah, we ran through a handful of awards there, Nick. Do you want to touch on them quickly? I know you got a couple of the winners listed, but I mean, we covered pretty much everything we're not going to cover at the end. What do we do?
So our deathmatch kind of star of the year, because we have covered a lot of deathmatch wrestling and everything, was Rita Yamashita from GCW 100%. Spoiler alert, her and Alex Colon from GCW might be in an award later on and everything. Because 100%, when it comes to what we've watched of the deathmatch wrestling, she's been the breakout star of having, multiple matches in the same weekend, and every match she has, to quote Sheamus and all that, is banger after banger after banger.
Right.
And then Sami Zayn won breakout star of the year, absolutely 100%.
Yeah,
I think that goes without saying.
Yeah, huge year for Sami.
And then obviously biggest return is Bray Wyatt coming back at Extreme Rules. I think again another goes without saying.
Just quickly, John in the chat points out that like Bray hasn't even wrestled yet, and I think this is one of the most compelling things about the Bray Wyatt scenario is he was one of the most over relevant wrestlers in all of wrestling for the entirety of 2022 without stepping in a ring, and for the bulk of that hadn't been anywhere near a fucking wrestling facility of any kind, and he was still being talked about. He was still it ends up hurting him in year-end voting, but it's pretty compelling.
Still, as far as a storyline goes, as far as a return goes, of at least knowing that he's back in professional wrestling when it comes to 2022, you can't deny the White Rabbit storyline, Bray Wyatt's return at Extreme Rules. We saw it even here live on the channel of that reaction of him coming back. So
a couple counters. I like this one. Gunther had a good year. It was a pretty breakout year for Gunther.
Gunther's been at the top, like debatable.
It's hard, right? I mean, some people say, well, Sami was already there, but yeah, Sami really put himself on the next level where now we're legitimately, I don't think a year ago we were talking about Sami winning a title, a main event title.
I was going to say, I've been out here saying that Sami Zayn should be the one to take the title or titles off of Roman Reigns. So I think we wouldn't even say that about Gunther right now.
I would. I mean, I think I could. Maybe. But worst gimmick was definitely Maximum Male Models. I mean, there was other stuff out there. Whatever Parker Boudreaux's doing is a horrible situation. And there's a couple other ones out there. It's bad. But listen, let's be real. We give it to Maximum Male Models. I mean, it's a better gimmick. It's a worse gimmick than the Invisible Man. So this was bad. It was conceptually bad. What they did to my buddy LA Knight was bad. Thank God they saved him.
He's still having to recover from that.
No, it's awful.
Well, and then we also had, most overrated Chris Jericho, which the Elite and Sammy Guevara and CM Punk and Ronell kind of had their, hat to throw in there. But
Jack, Happy Corbin would have been one of the nominees.
It was a contender. I will say that. I'm looking at the list. It was a contender.
It was a contender. He was in there. It was a contender. Sami Zayn is already a 3-time IC champion.
How many time world champion?
That's it, right? So that was hard weighing in on it. And I thought about it as well. But again, I think you still always saw Sami as kind of floating through the mid. And this is a complete jump for him. So he wins it.
All right.
Gunther's definitely a nominee. So Karrion's a good one, but he hasn't done much. He hasn't really done much at all. We need more Karrion.
Right. Well, so do we want to get into the next award here?
Yes, we can do that, Mr. Nick. So the next award up, this one's interesting. All right, folks. Y'all need some friends, right? I just want to keep rocking out.
Bang your head. But no, this was, and actually, it's an interesting category and everything. 100% of there's been an uptick when it comes to factions in professional wrestling right now.
Yes, definitely get more factions, and I mean, at least in the WWE, we have a guy that's big on factions. He's been a part of several, so I would expect more of that. And again, we've got some good debates here. Some people that weren't nominated. Imperium, I feel like they kind of broke up and then got back together, so it kind of stymied their momentum a little bit. They were close.
They got together on the tail end.
Yeah, they were close. We were happy, dude. We popped huge. They opened Clash with that. Everyone reunited,
sitting there crying, tearing up.
So, yeah, no, definitely in there. BCC, JS is no. They got bumped. They got bumped.
It's my list.
Yeah, I pulled rank and dropped Toxic in there, but without further ado.
So the winner is the Bloodline, of course. Absolutely, his best faction of the year.
Thank you, folks.
All right, live from the Studio Islands.
We will accept this award on behalf of the Bloodline,
and I will accept, as the honorary Oos, I guess, of the channel, the honorary Oos representative. I will accept this award on behalf of the Bloodline. Acknowledge our tribal chief. What?
Yeah. I like this show real quick before we get into why it is what it is. But Brawling Brutes would have been a good nominee. They, again, a good back half. I think we can't discount. We'll get into the nominees after, actually. But, I mean, the Bloodline is the Bloodline. I can't even think we have a debate about it. They have all the gold. They show up when they want. They win a lot. They're the most compelling thing.
This group has managed to go from being top heels to top baby faces, I feel, in the same calendar year. So absolutely. They 100% of, we just even saw them run a roughshod on Monday Night Raw of literally just running around, beating everybody up like the NWO used to. We've talked about, I think it was on Friday, of, how does this group, compare to, say, Roman's time as in the Shield and everything. Of they've etched their mark in best factions in professional wrestling history, not just this year.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think it's undeniable, and I saw like BCC got some votes. Maybe next year's year-end review we'll do a fan vote based on see if we get enough response for it. But Blackpool's in there. I mean, we have a lot to talk about.
We'll do a fan vote and then our vote and see how they match up.
Right. The other part of that was this is funny. Skid Row. Yeah, definitely. Also, High Flyer of the Year goes to Top Dollar.
Luchador of the Year.
Other than the Brawling Brutes, Judgment Day sucked, and then they started to get hot now in the onset of Dom and Rhea, but there was a big chunk where the Judgment Day sucked, didn't make sense, and what happened with Edge didn't make sense.
You do have to kind of at times take out the whole recency bias of
a little bit,
where the Judgment Day is really good or catching fire right now. You could say that, if you wanted to say House of Black for the year of 2022, but honestly, it would have really been mostly kind of just this last little run here.
Yeah, I mean, that's the ups and downs. The one thing we try to look at here with any of these awards or countdowns that we do is a whole year, right? We get into what was the longevity, and that's where Toxic Attraction makes the list, because Mandy was dominant up until she got fired. And so was, Gigi and Jane, a lot of gold. They won the titles multiple times. And again, technically Jade and the Baddies had a really good year. If we want to break it down, it's just outside of being on that streak, they're not a good faction.
Right.
But yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Moving along quickly, folks. We mentioned it's Christmas and we're feeling good.
Right.
I will take a minute before we get into the next category. Remind everybody it's Christmas Day tomorrow, obviously, for some of us. Anyone else who's just enjoying the day just because. Happy holidays to everybody. Merry Christmas to everybody else. And to everyone out there, we will be back on Monday and then run right through the week as we always do. And as we continue to do, we will be here for all the shows. So do not go anywhere. Like, subscribe. If you're just tuning in for the first time, let your friends know what we do. We are the alternative commentary to all of your wrestling out there. We break it down, live reaction. We don't script it. We don't plan it. It happens and it stays that way. We got no choice. We are live all the time, whether it's snowing, raining, sick, tired, fed up. We are here, and birthdays, holidays every day. And big shout out to CJ and Cliff and my buddy Big Nick. Merry Christmas.
Absolutely. Oh, this man just sending out that holiday spirit through you. Can you feel it? Some of the highest, some of the Honda. Absolutely. But no, 100%. I feel like this is, I know we're still within 2022. We're just at Christmas. We've still got, the back end of December a little bit on everything, but this very much feels like, kind of the end of, even though we're still within a year and everything, this still feels like a bit of the, a year in review of, my kind of first time ever doing anything like this, with the Wrasslin 4LIFEE Network. Absolutely. So just to see where it's come, where it's gone, where it's going, absolutely. Just thank you to everybody that's been here for a minute, been here for a long time. While you're sitting there hanging out with all your family and friends, absolutely. Make sure to tell them, spread the good word of wrestling around your family, folks.
Absolutely, folks, and do not miss a minute. So thank you as always, and we can't wait for 2023. More coming your way, as I always say. We always have more coming your way. So do not.
Our shit is real. Our shit is raw. Our shit is authentic. When you're talking about that wrestling, you better put that 4LIFEE with it. And it's not the end of the video.
That's it. We're not going anywhere, but it felt necessary. That being said, folks, let's move on. Let's move on to the next category on the list. And here you go. Boom. There you have it. Your top pay-per-views of 2022, Mr. Nick.
Absolutely. And so do we want to get right into the winner? Because I feel like this is going to be controversial no matter which way you split it here.
Oh, this might be a hot topic to talk about for a minute, but let's get into it.
So the winner is WrestleMania 38, night 1 and night 2.
We lumped them together.
Right. Mania as a whole. It just had All Out was a close contender, but I feel like it was mainly hanging on because of the post-show stuff. But WrestleMania from top to bottom, it's kind of hard, I still feel at this point, to beat out a WrestleMania. I mean, you have Roman versus Brock, and you have Roman ending it of holding both titles up. Mm-hmm. You have Cody return. There was just so many moments across that whole show that it's still crazy that so many things happened in 2022. It feels like it didn't happen this year.
Yeah.
But that still had to be, if you looked at calendar year, that's the best show to happen this year.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to, how the fuck do you even argue with it? I was almost trying to push that we broke down into one, because I thought night 1 was outstanding. I thought night 2 wasn't quite as good. But I mean, how do you right here? Thomas actually just said it. We got Stone Cold. You got
Right.
Stone Cold and KO in a street fight that didn't look like shit. They made it work. They worked it out, and
You
then
had the debut of Logan Paul.
Logan Paul comes out and surprised everyone. Who, by the way, could have easily been a breakout star of the year, except he's only had very little.
Three,
Three
four
matches. Yes,
Yeah.
two. But yeah, so I mean, when it comes to the big show, what are you going to say? The ratings were high on this one. It was just even the match of the night was, I believe, was night one the Becky match and Belair.
Yes, that one
Outstanding.
was to where the Becky or Bianca beats Becky.
Yeah, but and that actually could have made the botch list is when Knoxville's trap wouldn't work properly.
But still, that's the thing is that had so many moments. I mean, you had Edge versus AJ, you had Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory for all of the Pat fans there. Why? You had Bobby Lashley versus a walking tree in Omos of as much as AW even says they're the variety of WrestleMania is always kind of going to be one of those shows that it's hard to really outdo unless you really go for it and really nail it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I completely agree as far as it's just crazy. Like it's such a stacked card. Now you look at some of the other pay-per-views on the list that we were keen on, and I know there was a debate between All Out and Full Gear, but All Out, I mean, people went home happy. People liked the show. People were, really high praise to Tony for what he did at All Out.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think though All Out gets overshadowed by what happened after the show versus what happened on the show.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, that becomes the thing that kind of takes away from everything. Now, did you think Full Gear was better than All Out?
I would still probably take All Out on that,
neck and
honestly. Because it was still of as much as you thought, and I guess I'm, very much the super MJF fan here on the channel and everything, but still as much as you hoped, wished, kind of figured, thought that it was MJF that won the poker chip, what have you, you still didn't know what was going to happen, if he was going to say come out and cash it in that night. You still had that whole back and forth. At that point, it was getting a little shooty, a little awkward with Moxley and Punk even. So that's why I feel like when you were halfway starting to see the wheels fall off, so that one almost makes it even more interesting.
Yeah, no, and I don't disagree with that at all. I mean, and it's a tough shout. I think there were two for me, both those shows were really good. And Full Gear I didn't like how Full Gear played out. And with All Out, again, the biggest thing became the brawl and everything that transpired after it. So, two good pay-per-views. Obviously, we had other nominees in there for the pay-per-view listing. I mean, how Extreme Rules, another one that might have had a bigger moment, but the overall pay-per-view, I mean, we had extreme matches.
Yes, absolutely. Sorry. Absolutely. But I think it was a bit overshined because of the specific moment.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, but at the end of the day, we had some good matches. We actually got some, stipulations and we were back. And I think it was just because it was such a hopeful event. We're like, okay, we'll see what Papa Ball does now. And then,
well, yeah, wasn't that like the first one truly under Papa Paul?
Truly, yeah, because he came in for SummerSlam, or he was there for SummerSlam, but he hadn't quite got the reins at that point.
Right.
But yeah, beyond that, and then of course we did include the Nick Gage Invitational. That was just a hell of a night. And I don't know if it was the vitamins or the feel goods or what, but it was a hell of a stream. And when you get pretty much a death match.
Well, to see a death match king in the ring, to see especially Alex Colon and John Wayne Murdoch, like to see them go through that whole tournament. You're literally watching a guy duct tape, his shoulder basically together so he can finish a match and all of that. Like you kind of get behind it, regardless. You're like, go on, you good boy.
Right. Big shout out to CJ popping up in the chat. But yes, I mean, really, again, pay-per-views and the recency bias is real tricky with this one. But I mean, you run through it. We didn't like the end of the Rumble, and I think that's what's killing me with the AEW ones is like by the time we got to the end of a couple of these pay-per-views, your response is lackluster because you've been sitting there for 6 hours, 7 hours of just like, come on, get to the point because there's 17 matches. And if they could just clean that up, give us a nice solid like 10 match pay-per-view, 12 match pay-per-view. We thought he was going to do it at Full Gear, and then last minute he kind of went here. And you're like,
because he had like 3 matches announced, and then people complained, and then so it's like, here, if you don't want 3, you get 13.
The Clash at the Castle was officially true story.
Fair enough.
It was part of the transition, and Clash could have made the list. A lot of people had Clash as their favorite pay-per-view.
That was and I think that was kind of our first kind of brunch with the boys stream on the channel and everything. And it's because over here in the US and everything when it was over in Wales. But that just again, like you said, I don't know if it was the vitamins, the vibes, the brunch with the boys, what have you. That just felt like a super enjoyable show. Throughout.
Yeah, it was fun. A lot of things. And we got Imperium back out of the gate, like you said. And it was a really good night. And the ending, we all kind of went home a little confused because of a production error. But other than that,
Caroline.
If you do a top 10, it makes it, right? The same thing when we're talking about Full Gear. You do a top 10, it makes it. When you're trying to figure out 4 or 5, it gets a little tight at the top.
Right.
But without further ado, I don't know what that is.
Without further ado,
let's move on to kind of what you have here. I mean, the best tag team on YouTube. And there you have it. There are your nominees for Tag Team of the Year in Wrasslin. And there's some bangers in there. This
was probably the most tightly contested award when it comes to the channel and everything.
Tough one. Absolutely, Nick. But I keep saying further ado, without further delay.
The Usos are the best tag team in 2022.
Well, yes.
I had to wait for the audience to calm down there. but it is. I know FTR. We've very much been a big fan of theirs on the channel, but at the same time, they fell in trap to AEW booking Briscoes. They can't get on a major promotion because of God knows why. So, especially Usos unifying the tag titles, being such a big part of the bloodline, of being such a prominent, staple of WWE television at this point, has to be tag team of the year.
Yeah, and you know what? My heart so wanted the Briscoes. Like I really, really wanted to plead a case and dig in on the them boys. And it's just simply the pardon.
Pardon.
Yeah, no, fucker got me with that one. I really wanted to see the Briscoes at the top of this list, but it's just the sheer volume and the nature of what the Usos are involved with, right? Like it's just a different level. You can't really compare it because two belts, the quality of the shows they're putting on, the quality of the shows they're involved in, they are the pinnacle of the business right now, period. So that one's tough. And I love FTR, but they have only one person to thank for not winning this for the second year, or at least for me, like being picked back.
Oh yeah, it's very much of when they're having to outwardly have promos talking, "Hey Tony, book us." That's a bad sign when they're holding every other wrestling promotion's title except for yours. That's a bad sign. And this is in no way taking away from the Usos because 100% they've 100% established themselves as a 1A, 1B, what have you, all of that, very much the top guys when it comes to tag team wrestling. Christ, they were PWI 500 top tag team and everything. They've finally reached that next level when it comes to them as a tag team.
Yeah, and again, they're just at the top, right? I mean, like you can't argue. Like it's essentially, if you wanted to roll the clock back, you're looking at, our generation's version of like the Four Horsemen. Those guys ran the show. These guys are running the show, and again, it's not like they get in the ring and give us shit matches. They're outstanding. I can't wait. 2023, Papa Paul. I can't wait to see an FTR Usos return.
WrestleMania 39.
Right. But like here's RK Bro. Man, they did have some good times,
but a good chunk of 2022 was also
he was out
Matt Riddle, who could qualify for some other categories out there.
Right.
Just I miss my bro Randy.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it's not his fault or anyone, but at the end of time, you're just going to run into the issue that Randy was out for a really long time. So again, 12 months of dominance is going to get outvoted every time for a team that had a really hot 4 or 5 months. So
fair enough.
Absolutely. And I mean, again, like I said, I love the Briscoes. Everything they do is phenomenal. We just watched them drop the House of Glory titles to main event.
Right.
A lot of people on this stream or on this chat or out there, you say main event, they don't know what you mean. They think you're talking about the Saturday night show. And
I thought we were talking about the main event of the show.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, man. Oh shit. But yeah, that's I mean they're outstanding, completely thrown off. But
fair enough. But no, absolutely. Well, and with the Briscoes, we just saw them also just win the Ring of Honor tag team titles. So that might have been why they dropped the House of Glory titles. It's the one thing with the Briscoes of there again. It's one of those, if you're a pro wrestling fan versus a sports entertainment fan, and the Briscoes are one of your diehard favorite tag teams and everything. But part of even why they're signed to Ring of Honor, but they're not on AEW television and all of that is, because of past issues. So I think they always have that unfortunate knock against them if they aren't on regular weekly television versus the Usos. We've seen them open shows, we've seen them end shows. FTR would be right there. Like I said, this would have been the closest contested category between FTRs and the Usos if Tony would have booked FTR better.
Yeah, absolutely, Nick. I can't disagree with that at all. It's not a knock on FTR. Last year when I made a vote in this type of format, they were my number one, and it was undeniable. But they just weren't booked well this year. Yeah, they scooped up. They held those belts forever, but they weren't being used. They weren't being utilized. We barely seen them. When we did, it was a singles match. So it's unfortunate. But the fact of the matter is, their boss just didn't do them any help. Like you have the best tag team, the most talented tag team in the world, and they're going to end up on 2 or 3 on people's lists, including PWI, for that reason, and that's unfortunate.
That's the biggest indictment of the whole situation. And again, it's almost so weird to say all of this, and the Usos fully deserve this award, but for them, it's one of those of FTR could have probably, maybe could have, should have, would have taken it if Tony knew how to use them better.
Yeah, and then like I said, last year they got a little more shine, and they were kind of on that let's go get our belts tour, and it was hard to argue with how talented they were. I mean, it's all for what I love about FTR is they elevate the teams around them, and you always get the best out of the Bucks when they wrestle FTR. You get the best out of Lucha Bros. You name it, they get the best out of whatever team they face.
Right. So, well, and again, a surprise shout out with that whole division is the Acclaimed as well. They sat there and went from being this kind of annoying heel team to the top act in the company almost.
Well, yeah, and I mean, who the fuck thought Billy Gunn was going to be responsible for this?
Right.
Like nobody saw this coming. Like we had no idea that we were going to just start watching wrestling where Billy Gunn is the most relevant over person that we have, right?
Right. Absolutely. The man's managed to get 2 generations of fans suspended.
Yeah, no, just getting kids everywhere in trouble, going from sucking it to scissoring it. Right? Like that's your claim to fame. You're like, what were you known for? Well, I used to suck it, now I scissor it.
Oh,
pause, what? But that's Billy Gunn for you. No, but again, I think the reason why the Acclaim make this list, Nick, is that when they step in the ring, they're talented. They are talented. It's not just the scissor gimmick that got over. They can bang.
They're the new They're the new age outlaws of AEW, 100%.
And yeah, kind of a little bit, right? Where that's kind of what you see now happening is this you got this nice young talent coming up and nobody expected it, and a lot of people still feel like maybe FTR should have those belts instead of the Acclaimed, but they're doing all right. Now I'm worried they're going to get burned out in the Tony system, which seems to be the case.
Fair enough.
But that being said, if you give me a couple seconds, was there anyone that we completely missed? Like, oh man, they had a really good tag team. Notice there was no female tag teams.
Well, I think that goes without saying of how
that's not nice.
Has treated their women's tag division, especially on the main roster, and how AEW's, I guess, hoping to try and have a women's tag division, which you already have too many titles. Why do you need to try and add more?
Yeah, no. You don't have the depth for that yet. And I think that's something that I know people are getting a little impatient with Papa Paul. But, I mean, at the end of the day, you're trying to build depth. You're trying to grow your brand. And I think Tony doesn't have that depth at his disposal just quite yet. But it is, I mean, it doesn't mean he can't get it there. But, yeah, no, it would be a bad look all around if that was the case. And speaking of bad looks, hello, you muted bugger.
Yeah, you muted man.
I'm tired of being treated like this. See, what happened was I was waiting for my seamstress to get done with my, my jacket here, baby. I had to wait for them to get done with a little something.
Right. Looking sharp, looking good. I didn't even bother with the jacket. I'm like, it's too warm in here.
It's crazy. So, like I'm just like fading away low key. They can't handle the.
But yeah, welcome to the show. I mean, we love having you back, and while you're here, and let's get to one of the last. We only got a couple more to go, so you picked a good time to come argue with us. Let's finish best tag team, folks. Now let's talk about the match of the year.
I was directing a choir back there. Oh man!
Welcome back. And with that being said, Nick, this is gonna be a fun one. What is the match of the year, sir?
It is the FTR versus Briscoes trilogy. Not just the first match, not the second match, not the third match. It was the whole trilogy as a whole.
Yeah, man. I already saw. I know. Listen, we talked about this back and forth, and it's what criteria you're looking at, and what is this, and what is that. I'll be honest. I straight up think the second match of the FTR and them boys was the match of the year. Period. Not even. You can leave out the other two.
I tried to keep my jacket on, but I realized it's blue. I'm like, what the hell is going on? I said, why am I fucking fading? It's that.
I'm faded.
I'm faded. So match of the year for me, FTR them boys. Absolutely. I think the Cody Seth Hell in the Cell was a little more sizzle.
The purple peck denier up there.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the purple peck, so get out of here.
I wouldn't even say that right there, like the Hell in the Cell match, was even a nomination, low key. Because I mean, how was it really a best match? It was more of a Superstar of the Year match for Cody because you know he's fighting through a big injury. But I mean, match of the year, the match was great. But I would definitely give it to FTR and the Briscoes. I didn't even watch all three matches, but I've seen the clips.
Is it still interesting that in that same year was the Moxley versus Yuta match that really kind of developed Yuta? And then we also had Brock versus Roman, to where we had Farmer Brock come out with the tractor and lift up the ring.
That was a crazy moment.
Right. I would say that's a crazy moment, but that FTR and the Briscoes is still something that you can go back and talk about. Wow.
Too furious.
Right?
No, but legitimately, I think for me, the Briscoes and FTR were one of those matches where you were legitimately on the edge of your seat. You were getting goosebumps. You bought in to the false finishes, and all three of the matches, they did phenomenal at bringing that across. And I mean, I can't refute it at all. I know some people out there might not be overly familiar with the Cologne Yamashita match. Same idea, except these two wrestlers just used light tubes and went crazy, and she eats the light bulbs.
I was going to say, just go watch it at this point. It's trying to make it, trying to describe it to other people. It's one of those, secret hidden treasures when it comes to pro wrestling. Of you can't
Right.
really describe it to other people until you go and watch it. You sit on the mountain of omnipotence and watch that match.
This man needs big ass words.
Fantastic. It's my dark horse. If I had to pick one specific match, I might pick that one as personal favorite, but that's part of why I made the list.
Yeah, this made the list. Just because of that.
Now, with men's war games, that to me was a one that I could have pushed off the list, no problem.
Facts.
The story was great, though, and I think that played a huge part in the match.
Fair
but
enough.
but the story was really one-ended. Like it was only supposed to be for it was basically Sammy's initiation pretty much in the bloodline. That's what I took from that match pretty much. Otherwise than that, it was just you had the main characters versus some jobbers.
But no, you were using that, and that's what's helping set up KO versus Cena on December 30th and everything. And why was Roman versus KO at the Royal Rumble?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely the case. This man.
I punched my knuckle. That hurt so bad.
Gunther and Sheamus.
Ooh. Now that has potential. That has potential to be on the list for sure. Definitely.
We talked about this. That's hilarious that Smile Mark brought that up. The Wee Woo match of the year.
Oh, I forgot that became a whole thing on the channel and everything. That almost became one of the things I was stuck saying all the time. Wee Woo. Because Ric Flair, who still passed out twice during those matches, by the way, and still right after
he died.
Oh, this isn't my last match.
Listen, he's gonna be at Rumble. You gonna be in the Rumble, CJ?
I hope not. I hope he just make an appearance, and then we get Charlotte Flair come out. I'm hoping. Hey, I understand this. If that man is in the Rumble, for a fact he's going to get the same treatment that Undertaker had at WrestleMania. He's going to get halfway carted down, and then all of a sudden the camera's going to cut back to him and walk down. Just get right back out. Oh, Lord. Please don't have that happen.
It took way too much. Barely took any. But, yeah, it was way too much.
Right. You got that Ric Flair drip going on.
Right. Woo. Now we might never ever see FTR and Briscoes again, so that's an interesting part of the last match we got with the dog collars.
Fair enough. And even how that match ended, it ended on such a compelling note. Like, no matter what, that was storytelling in professional wrestling in 2022 across the board, across multiple promotions, even.
And with one team not even being allowed to be on like the actual program to build, right? Like you have no real, your traditional ways of building weren't there. It was like these little, video snippets, and that was enough. And everyone's just like, they're going to fight again. That's all that matters.
Right. You just kind of knew I'm here for it.
I was trying to figure out what's another match that has potential to be on the list, and I can't think of not one of them.
Mox Yuta.
You know me. Anything Mox is on, I'm immediately going against it.
Well, that was on the list.
It's on the list.
Now, there's not a whole lot of female presence in the match of the year category.
Would you be risking it and adding on Jamie Hayter versus Sheeta?
That match wasn't that good.
So recency.
No, I don't. I debate that because that was one of the top rated main events on Dynamite on AW television, pretty much in the history of that company.
What about the best out of 7 match we got going on as well? Was that on the list?
No, the best out of 7 is not making the list because
the best out of Snooze match did not make any sort of list.
Yeah, they're not participating in wrestling right now. They're just doing. They just have a friend with a very expensive camera. Like they're just doing that for them. They're just trying to entertain themselves and the people around them.
Roman versus Logan Paul.
I honestly thought I was almost going to mention that. That's not a terrible show.
Yeah, That's a big one.
As much as people poo-pooed that match, and I was the one of saying, well, this is the place to have it, and we've had this out before. But it wasn't a terrible match, and it was super solid. I feel like a Danielson match from AEW needs to.
What was it? Daniel Garcia versus Danielson, right?
That should probably be. That would be close to here.
Yeah.
I think it was bitter because Daniel went under. So,
he went
under, and I mean, back we talked about Becky and Belair at Mania was an outstanding match. They tore the house down. There's been a bunch. I mean, there's definitely grounds for a bunch of other people to make this list, but we could be here all day on this one. Swerve in Our Glory versus the Acclaimed. That's a really, really good show.
Right.
The first one, though, the first match was better than the second match.
In this?
Against the Acclaimed and Swerve.
Oh, yes. I thought you were saying it in this trilogy. To me, this was almost like that Star Wars of, A New Hope isn't exactly as good as, Return of the Jedi.
Right? No kidding.
Damien brings up another go. Oh, I didn't.
Sorry. Go with Damien.
No, I said Damien brought up another point. Ricochet versus Gunther.
Gunther versus Sheamus. Well, Sheamus versus Gunther was on there from Clash.
Yes.
Ricochet versus Gunther just happened. So
now, because I was going to say Ricochet versus Gunther, or Gunther versus Rey Mysterio. But the only reason why I was skipping both of those for me is because those are SmackDown matches, and it really wasn't all that for real. I mean, it was cool.
If we're gonna go that route and we're gonna talk about Ricochet or anything like that, like to me, I would say Ricochet versus Escobar was more of a match of the year. Even Ricochet versus Carmelo. I forgot about that from Halloween Havoc. That was a hell of a match as well. Especially that crossbody spot in the center and everything.
Yep. No, they tore it down.
That's like you said. Like you said, KJ, we could be here all day.
All right.
Because 2022 probably was like the best and the worst year in wrestling in general.
All of the highs and all of the lows.
Right.
Definitely one of the more interesting years in wrestling as far as just follow the bouncing ball.
Yeah.
Right. Well, gentlemen, we have 2 categories left, and I know this is always a highly contested battle amongst the IWC constantly. So you guys ready to get in the thick of it?
Cue the music, crowd.
All right, folks. Let's start off with top female wrestler of 2022.
Ooh. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I got a runner bottle already, bro. You put Taya Bakri in there. You forgot to put DMD in there.
We did not forget.
You could have put Rhea in there.
We could have put Rhea in there too. Yeah, that's a lot.
Rhea is the one. We'll get to it. We haven't even talked about the winner yet. Rhea is definitely the one that may have been, but we can probably break that down. However,
I got snubbed.
I hope
Britt Baker isn't what she used to be.
You're thinking 2021 versus 2022.
Correct. I am.
Right.
I am, Sam. I am. Mr. Nick, do we have a winner?
The winner is
God, spicy. This is spicy.
It's in the envelope.
This is spicy.
Mandy Rose.
Oh, get the
Speaking of spicy.
Out of here. Oh, hell no, bro. Oh my God, bro. I seen the first two women. I said, this is spicy, bro.
Right. So speaking of spicy, muy caliente. So spicy, she had to get released from the company. We have Mandy Rose with her.
I'm surprised at that. I'm not gonna lie. I'm surprised.
I'm a little surprised too, to be honest.
I can see why though. So I mean, I'm surprised, but I can see why.
So which one wants to go first?
You go first.
Yeah.
No, I was letting y'all go first. I was gonna say, does Spicy Man over there want to go first, or do you want to go first?
Well, here's the thing. Mandy has a great shout. I mean, she's been dominant. She's been in matches. Kind of the same idea as Jade as far as just been on a roll, been a champion. So you have to consider that. The only one I felt that probably could have got the nod in her place, technically, realistically, would be Belair. Like, Belair had the belt a lot. But I will say that Mandy Rose was the face of an entire show for the entire year.
Fair enough.
That's my positive spin on it.
I don't know. I'll interject this real quick before I get to, I guess, spicy day over there.
She made $500,000 in 3 days.
Rhea Ripley is very much an honorable mention, 100%. Of I even was thinking today of like, I almost feel like she may have kind of gotten passed over, but she did also miss about 4 months and everything out of 2022. Yes. And even Christ, Alba Fire's not a terrible shout.
Didn't do much. I mean, I
Tony
thought
Tony Storm isn't a bad shout as well. That's
close.
The thing is there. I feel like there's still, when you have to kind of narrow it down, and like we've talked about, of what they've done over a year, over the full year. And Mandy Rose has made herself a star this year.
Yeah, and it's a mix of the criteria, right? It's longevity. Throughout the 2022, the calendar, you also are looking at the overall impact to what programming they're on. I mean, there's a valid case for Mandy. There's a valid case for Belair. I do think that Rhea Ripley had a very big shout to get in there. And again, like I just kind of slipped in there, was Jordan Grace was close. Now, I know Taya Valkyrie is a little controversial.
Well, no, Tara was, again, like what we talked about with how like Allie Cash won earlier and everything like that, of how she's wrestled all over. So, and we even thought with the what was it, like Lyra Valkyrie or whatever, the
man, that was this biggest letdown ever.
Coming back on NXT, we thought for the longest time that was going to be Taya coming back.
Bird Woman.
The Bird Woman.
The Crow come to life.
It instantly becomes a heel because morons like us that were like, oh,
yeah.
Who knew they pronounced and spelled it totally different?
The reason why I say this is spicy is because, like I said, the first two women, they are equally the same as of right now. So, like, and the reason why I say this is because they both had the belts since 2021. True. Bianca lost it, but she won it back. And at that point in time when she won it back, she had a great match with Becky.
It's true.
Jade Cargill has been the TBS champion since January the 5th of 2022. So ideally, Jade Cargill, for me personally, would be Woman of the Year because she's been undefeated since she pretty much debuted in AEW. But winning that belt January the 5th of 2022, and we're talking about December, she's about to be the champion for a full-blown year now.
Yeah.
So she has, for me, if we're looking at it on paper, she's definitely going to be Woman of the Year. I'm utterly surprised.
I think she won.
Did the half-year awards and everything.
Yeah.
Women of the year.
I was like, wait a minute, this man did not just pull out the damn broad stroke.
Yeah.
That is too funny. But you know what? Liv Morgan being on that list, honestly, I would take her out immediately and I would replace her with I would put Rhea in her spot. And the reason was because Liv had her window was small.
Yeah, but she won a Money in the Bank. She won the title. Her window was small, but I mean, people have been talking about.
But she got turned on.
She had a title run versus I'm Your Mommy.
Yeah, but Rhea should. I mean, I almost wish we had one more spot. Like that was a category we could have expanded, made a bit bigger, but it is what it is. So if you finish 6th or 7th, you still get the fucking trophy. So,
right at the end of the day, who's winning is really matters here.
Now, is
there somebody else on AEW? I'm sorry. Is there anybody else on AEW you could seriously replace her with? Would you replace her with like a Marina Shafir? I mean, what's that? I'm sorry.
You don't know her.
I didn't mean to say her name. I'm Mercedes Martinez. Ring of Honor
Women's Champion. Replacing though?
Liv Morgan with.
No.
What about Jamie
Hayter? Jamie Hayter.
But Jamie just got her spark too right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you think that
she might kind of her name, but I might be partial. So yeah.
Yeah. I think the thing that people don't realize with Taya Valkyrie is she held major belts in 3 companies this year. And 2 of them are major companies as far as Impact and AAA. But not a knock on MLW either. No, it was 4. My bad, 4. She had 4 belts on.
But titles don't make you a great superstar.
But she's putting on great matches to win those titles. She's going in death matches. Man, she beat up her husband on WrestleMania weekend.
I was going to say, to agree with this, man, you can't tell me, CJ, you weren't here when it was kind of the vibe and kind of the feeling of Taya was very much in the conversation for top female wrestlers out there doing it. And we were looking at, especially once Papa Paul took over, of how soon is it until she goes back to WWE?
So you know me, I'm always out of the loop with the indies, and that's why I can never agree with anything when it comes down to an indie star. That's just me though. But my goal for 2023 is for me personally to look into the indie so I can really tune in. Because like I bring up a Taya Valkyrie, a Jonathan Gresham. What's the big buff lady? That joining. So
we're just getting to not 2 promotions. We'll wait till you get to like Wrestling Revolver and DCW and XPW and all of that.
It seemed like that I should start watching MLW and GCW to really grasp what
MLW is solid, really is.
Yeah, so
they're so small though; they don't get any representation on this list. And I know they got really talented people that we could talk about till we're blue in the face, but it's this at times. It's a bit like what the Impact has the issue with of so much of their stuff ends up delayed. So much you end up ahead of it way before we know what's coming out before it actually comes out.
Right. So let me ask you this: so Mandy Rose won top female of the year.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So let's break down the list from the women that we did see, starting from Mandy Rose being number 1. Who's number 2?
We didn't really have a.
If we're gonna go number 2, I'd say
Jade, and then Bianca's number 3, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then we go Taya, then we go Liv, right?
No, then we go, yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure. Because so like when I look at Mandy, and it's kind of hard for me to put her at top female wrestler. Oh, it's not hard for me to look at him and her at all. No, but I'm saying like it's hard for me to place her in that top female wrestler because I mean, yeah, she carried NXT, but during her duration, she held that title, but she did kind of have a lot of crappy matches compared to Jade Cargill, where she's been champion actually since day 1, pretty much January the 5th of this year.
How many matches for Mandy can you remember versus how many Jade matches can you remember?
I can't remember. I remember
a lot of Jade matches as to what she wore to the ring, and then 1, 2, 3. Mm-hmm. When it comes to Mandy, I actually remember the match.
I think that's what hurts Jade is when you start thinking, when you start breaking down, okay, these athletes are pretty even, they're pretty close. What separates them is Jade hasn't really given us any good matches. Like there's not one Jade match that I was like, oh my god, dude, did you catch Jade last night? Fucking killed it.
Okay, no, that's respectable. Yeah, that's definitely respectable for sure. That makes a lot of sense. Having those quick matches versus having those, longer matches where you can say, "Oh yeah, I got you." Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
I love the quick matches. If
damn,
I think those quick matches are great to build her up. But if you need to throw in, a pay-per-view match where it's a good match,
it's fine. Look, I done rebutted it, and I thought about it. I said, "Damn, Mandy Rose, she did just beat
this man done rebutted his own rebuttal."
I know, right? Because she did just beat the UK lady. So there we go. So I will immediately not even Alba Fire. What's the NXT Women's Champion name? No,
what?
Miyuko Satomura.
Oh yeah, what's
that match? That triple threat match was great because she beat a damn legend. So yeah, there we go. I'll go to give her it.
That's the thing, like maybe
gotta give her it.
Dewdrop.
What the fuck?
Nikita Lyons' hottest debut. Listen, Nikita Lyons was definitely nominated for Breakout Star of the Year. I mean, as far as
again, it's one of those if you want to do a top 10 or top 15, what have you, you get names like even though KJ doesn't like her, Cora Jade, you get Nikita Lyons, you get Zoe Starks. Honestly, I think Ronda might be further down than most people probably would think she is.
Ronda Rousey, she needs to be a number 100.
Why is there 100?
That's the thing.
I don't know. I don't care. I don't care what she said, but she's not top 1 at all.
And we all have our favorites for different reasons, and we understand why. And at the end of the day, again, when you look at body of work over the year, and some people forget, oh shit, yeah, she was out for 4 months. So unless they do something like big, impactful, and I think that's where Liv squeaked in, is just she's been relevant all year, and maybe not to the highest degree. But then she has 2 big W's under her belt, and you're like, all right, you kind of.
Well, and I think that's even a bit of why maybe Rhea might have gotten a bit looked over, because I even thought today I was like, oh damn, about Rhea, but it's one of those of she's more been on the back end of 2022 versus like you were saying with Liv had the front half of 2022, Rhea kind of had maybe more the back half, and it's how much do you weigh throughout the year.
I promise, like I would bet solid money that Rhea Ripley will not miss this list next year at all. Like
she probably wouldn't.
Right. She can have a absolutely.
Ooh. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna lie to you. I would literally switch. I would probably switch Jade and Bianca. I would put Bianca Belair number 2 now, because you really got me thinking about those memorable matches.
Yeah.
Bianca had an overall better year.
Yeah.
I mean, she's been involved in a lot of great spots. Yeah. I would put Bianca number 2.
Yeah, I think Bianca gets overlooked a little bit because, again, people don't like to watch 3 hours of Raw. And she did have a lot of like, oh, them again.
I hate that Nick got me with the freaking match thing. They got me thinking. It really got me thinking, like, damn. Okay. Yeah.
All right, folks. Wow. That is the female wrestler of the year. Like I said before, if you see any of our winners tonight and you disagree or agree, comment below. Let us know how we did. Let us know what we missed or what we completely nailed. And thank you, everyone, for making us a part of your Christmas. It is Christmas Eve. I'm live on YouTube with my 2 best dudes out there. So I can't.
Yeah, I didn't want to say best friends. You didn't want to say best friends.
The true story is I almost said best, and I was like, no, turn left. But yeah, no. So I mean, the fact that people are hanging out with us from all over the world on Christmas Eve is pretty crazy, pretty special, and I'm looking forward to getting off the stream though. Spending some time with the family. I can't wait for the rest of the night, but I can't wait for the rest of this year so we can get into 2023 and continue to do what we do, folks. We got 1 category left.
Dun, dun, dun.
Hit the button. You put it right out, buddy.
So this is where it's going to get controversial if you can't tell right now.
This is going to be interesting. I didn't have a cool prop like you guys. Like you already have a prop. Like I need a prop.
Right, so, well, not speaking of props and everything, so we'll just get right down to the chase here and everything. You know, the main event of tonight and everything. So the winner of Top Male Superstar of the Year is MJF.
Wait, what? Is it?
Hold on. I apologize.
Fucking Steve Harvey.
So the winner of Top Male Professional Wrestler of 2022 is, of course.
Oh, okay.
There's no questions that need to be asked. There's not even worth a conversation. All the guys that was on the list, they had no chance. They had no chance in hell of winning this year. Maybe next year. I highly doubt next year. If Roman keeps going on what he's doing.
Damien, don't feel left out. We talked about Bailey a lot. He had an outstanding year.
What the hell is that?
Speedball.
Enlighten me. What promotion?
Impact X Division champion. I don't think he is anymore. Is he?
I blame the media. If the media was able to push out Impact Wrestling more, or if Impact had more money to actually advertise and do so, we would have a lot of more competition in everything, honestly.
Yeah.
But I think that's where they kind of sort of lack at just a little bit, is that promotion and stuff, the real advertising. Because I mean, I don't know who the hell Mike Bailey. Only people I know that's over there right now is Jonathan Gresham. Jonathan Gresham. The guy that Moose speared his kid. What's his name? Josh Alexander. Moose, Eric Young, and
Eric Young's not there anymore. So
he's in WWE.
Allegedly. No. That's all I know. Deanna Perez, that's it.
So that is your winner, Roman Reigns. I know when you announced MJF, I was like, really? Is that what happened? I always believed you.
But you know what? Low key,
that's what makes it debatable.
But low key, though, I mean, hey, it was very possible that he could have won this year, just based off of the things that he did. Like I said, really, the championship belt doesn't really truly make you, the top male nor the top superstar of the year at all. If you work, that's what's gonna grab you more. MJF had a better, I would say, I can't say that. I'm sorry. I can't say that.
You literally got halfway through your point and stopped there.
Right.
I thought my brain said nah. I was gonna say MJF had better promos than Roman did, but I mean not really.
Better than Roman or better than the Bloodline?
Better than Roman. Roman had great promos alone though.
So what's a memorable Roman promo from 2022?
Okay. So do you count the ones that technically were not in the ring?
It's like missionary every single night.
No, I think they're both like, what it is for me is, if you're looking at everything on the score sheet, MJF ranks a little bit higher, right? And he beat, but Roman still did good. Roman's at 7 out of 10 on his promos. MJF got a 9.5,
Well, if we're going by promos, maybe MJF wins it. I'm saying if we're going top overall talent from the blue chip prospect to end all blue chip prospects, the fucking yardstick that every professional wrestler is measured up against at this point, it's Roman Reigns.
But does MJF's like hiatus mess up his rank
a little bit? And then his booking since he returned really fucking knocked him out of the race, right?
Booking versus after he's returned more than his hiatus, because it's still the same thing of, you can see guys that take a hiatus and then that helps with their return. Christ, Roman did it. Granted, it was the year before or so.
But that's
what really helps have him go from big dog to tribal chief.
Correct. Yeah. Okay, that's understandable for sure. But and that's why I was saying what the hell? That's why I was saying, like, with Roman and MJF, there was a possibility MJF could have been, number one. I don't know what necessarily could have pushed him, but like I said, with Roman Roman had a more memorable like year than anybody in wrestling as of today. And it's based off of truly the belts, and then also the things that he's been doing. Like his promos are great. Not, I mean, I ain't gonna say great. Some of them are okay.
They're good.
No,
They're really good.
Right, we're staying right here. I'm tired of letting these people think they have a chance.
And that's the best.
Yeah.
That is probably the most memorable promo I can say that I utter damn near daily.
You were funny because I think it was either live or the day after where CJ, you were like, man, did you see him like when he was started talking to the camera? I was like, now I'm hyped for that match. He ain't fucking around. I was like, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do.
And that's another reason why you could almost say Roman versus Logan Paul almost damn near could have been match of the year just based off the hype and the build up. That promo he cut off while he was walking back. Man, it was something relatable as well because a lot of people can relate to that. We tired of people thinking that people got a chance. Like, this is us. We are the best podcast here. I mean, we can say it ourselves, so we can really say it ourselves. But honestly, it's very relatable.
The Roman
Reigns. Well, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, Nick. I was just going to say, I mean, realistically, folks, and we could do a top countdown like anything else, but literally this is a runaway for me. And I think a lot of us, if you really look at it subjectively, no matter whose side of the fence you're on, if you look at this, Roman Reigns is undeniably the number one this year. Right. He dominated 2022.
He at this point has established himself up there with the levels of like a Rock in Austin, a John Cena he's returning, what have you. But no, at this point, even going from that whole promo of it's called a promo, kid. If you want to be the big dog, you're gonna have to learn how to cut one. So now he's sitting there and he's hugging even Sammy and he's looking into the camera and he's talking shit to the camera. Now whether every little nuance, every little mannerism, every move, the way that man carries himself 100% is just complete and utter confidence of that man is, like I said, the yardstick that when it comes to being a top pro wrestler right now, people are judged against. We're comparing MJF to Roman. We're not comparing, Roman so much more to MJF because I would say in ring style, even I'd put Roman above MJF. Roman may lose it just on promos, but as far as in-ring psychology, character work, and just even being on the biggest platform, that whole production behind it.
Acknowledge
he's not only gotten himself over, he's gotten his family over, he's gotten
Sammy over.
Has been one of the greatest things going in wrestling. And that's just because it's in the fucking orbit of Roman Reigns.
And the most beautiful thing is, if they do it right, whoever takes down Roman, if it's Sammy or anyone, that is such an over moment for whoever takes him down now, because you've built him up. And that's what you're supposed to do. You build up your champions, and then when people come along and challenge them, the fans get behind it. Either, as a healer or babyface, doesn't matter. The fans got to decide if they're into that person. This is a whole lot better storytelling.
Yeah. So, I guess early side, if I cut him off, but early prediction of who you think takes the belt off Roman.
Damn it, man!
Going into 2023.
I was just about to say, to even imagine who the hell can beat him, it's scary because
I kind of want it to be Sammy now that it's out there. Like, now that it's come up, like, I'm like, that would be really cool.
Be still my beating heart.
Right. I still thought it would be Cody. I still thought Cody was the guy destined to do it.
I pray that this is what happened. We get a brand split officially, and we get one of the belts dropped off of Roman. That's going to be the best way to do it, because now we can get Cody Rhodes to be the champion. We need Cody. I'll tell you, when Cody comes back, if we have Cody, Orton, and everybody else is injured coming back with the Sasha Banks and Naomi, WWE is definitely going to be at its top level, at the highest it has ever been. That shit is going to be crazy compared to what AEW. What the hell are you doing? Compared to what he got, man. I mean, I don't
tripping at a holiday party there.
I'm getting ready for the after party.
Yeah, I don't want to keep going because this ain't a Rumble today. This is just the award show. So
yeah, we're supposed to be celebrating, not debating.
That's factual.
You can have that. That ain't even what I'm mad at.
But like I said, man, it's not questionable at all. This man that holds this belt and the black one. I ain't got the black one because that shit costs too much. But this man. Now let me ask you this one last question. Why wasn't Brian Breaker on that list?
Because he didn't do shit.
Carmelo Hayes.
Hot male performer. He could be an honorable mention, maybe, but if you're looking top 4, top 5,
Carmelo Hayes.
you're putting him.
I'm not gonna lie.
Take out of that.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought he said Braun Strowman. Let's get back. I swear to God. That's why I was like, he didn't do shit. And then he was like, no. And I was like, wait, no, I'm pretty sure he said Braun Strowman. No.
Look, now you got me feeling. Did I say that?
No.
Brawny, the Strowman.
Did he say Braun?
It's late on a Christmas Eve.
Look, damn, did I say Braun Strowman? Now you got me. Oh, well.
But yeah, Braun Breaker, close. I mean, he had a great year. Considered Josh Alexander had an outstanding year. He's had the belt almost the whole year. He was like 3rd on my list last year. So,
well, even Damian right now is saying that he thinks Cody's going to win it next year.
Cody could win it next year. I mean, we'll see. He has to get back, stay healthy, but why not? I mean, he is the purest of baby faces, and I think
white meat baby face instead of white bread.
That's a different topic.
Right.
Unbaked dough ball.
Inside joke. Inside baseball.
I carried AEW by himself, not you. Jericho, right? Are we talking about Jericho? Or are we talking Moxley? Moxley had a good year. I think they're just all subject to bad booking in AEW, where if you were booked better, we'd probably like you more.
Well, it's still at the end of the day, regardless of realistically, if you're a pro wrestling fan, if you like this thing called pro wrestling, you watch what Moxley does with his paper mache forehead, week in and week out, show in and show out when it comes to AEW, and you put that head to head with Roman Reigns. Same thing, or even if what you do with MJF with Josh Alexander.
What about CM Punk?
Head to head with Roman
What
Reigns.
What about CM Punk?
Why wasn't he on the list?
Punk?
Why didn't CM Punk make the list?
CM Punk spent more time.
He was number 3 though on PWI inside the top 500. So
yeah,
same thing about Okada as well.
Mm-hmm. Okada.
That's hold on, wait. Will Ospreay.
I was about to say we can talk about Will Ospreay.
Man, yeah, it was hard to leave Will off the list. And Jay White.
That's the thing, if you have to when you're starting to trim there, but I'm saying there's other people that
by a hair
people think should be up there and really shouldn't be up there.
Yeah. But like, I'm shocked you didn't give me shit for Jay White making the list.
I mean, I've seen him on 3 different promotions.
There you go. So who do you like better, Jay White or Will Ospreay?
I like Will Ospreay better, honestly. If we're talking about in ring,
you could have that. I ain't what I'm mad at.
If we're talking about in ring performance and on the mic skills, I would definitely go with Will Ospreay.
Fair enough.
Just based off what I seen with him do it in here in St. Louis, that shit was crazy. So
okay,
yeah.
But that is it, folks. And like I said already, this is coming to the end of the show. We've had fun doing this. We love doing this. And again, I think we're the only channel that does it the way we do it, at the level we do it. We are your alternative commentary for all of this. But it is Christmas. We are grateful. And Big Nick's going to tell us a story.
I was going to say, some people have asked for this, and now it's just going to be funny. We're heading off into the holiday season and everything. So, 'twas the night before whatness, when all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even Vince with his hush money payouts.
Oh.
The stockings were hummed by the chimney with care, in hopes that Papa Paul would be there. The elite were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of Larry Punk and Ace Steel danced in their heads. And TK and Riddle, with their whitest of eyes, had just settled in for their white Christmas surprise. When out on the lawn, there arose such a clatter. I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window, I fled like top dollar, tore my peck and let out a holler.
Nice.
When what to my wondering eyes did appear, but news that Vince and the boys no longer worked here. And in the greatest of luck, CM Punk was yelling about some empty-headed dumb fuck.
Damn.
With the game now in charge, he called them by name. Now Cross, now Cody, now Gallows and Anderson. On Kai, on Johnny, on Braun and Wyatt. To the top of the card, to the top of ratings. Now what away? Now what away? Now what away all? Pause.
Pause.
Oh, sorry, it was a long one. I was really happy.
Wait, what? They get another
going.
Hey, down. Finally, yes. Screw you. That's all you've been asking for this for a month now. There you go. You got it. God damn it. I'm a man of the people.
Real quick, who is the worst wrestler of this year?
Chris Jericho. Didn't even hesitate.
We got top dollar in the group chat. I mean, in the thing already.
Yeah.
Orange Cassidy has entered the chat.
Oh, damn. Wow. I don't know, man. If I'm going to
end it on a negative.
I think I'm going with top dollar. That motherfucker needs to retire.
Recency bias.
I
don't know how I top what I did, so y'all can have that.
Are we? I mean, there's so much chaos. Like, we got Rick Ross running around calling people names. Like, how did that
big motherfucker?
You know, like the funny moments. Like, I mean, we could do a giant blooper reel of just shit that was funny. You know, Scripps is back. Like, he just jumps on people now. You don't even see him coming, and like someone's celebrating, and he just whips them in the air.
The accusations you just made. They see him coming.
I'll take Jay White any day. I think Jay White's money in the bank. Vince Shane McMahon, again, something that we missed.
Sorry, that's a worst booking decision of the year. That man sat there and I'll be in the final four. I should maybe go over. Why? No.
He can go over. He can go over any day.
Right. But yeah. I guess the last thing we can do here, I mean, we're going to be back before the new year, so we'll save it, actually. I'll ask you about 2023 next time. That all being said, folks, like I've told you a million times, we hear here all the time. We do this nonstop. We grind on a different level. This has been an outstanding year. Shit, the guy down there didn't even think he could do this, and now he's out here.
I wasn't even here before. Christmas poems.
He is reading Christmas poems to the world. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. It's a Christmas miracle. CJ Brand shows up today. It's always a pleasure. Both of you gentlemen, thank you for everything in 2022. It has been nothing but an absolute pleasure to have you guys riding by my side. And Merry Christmas to you both. And yeah, thank you.
You got anything, CJ?
Chomp is here.
Number one, baby.
Our shit is real. Our shit is raw. Our shit is authentic. When you talk about the wrestling, you better put that 4LIFE with it. What?
Let us know how we did. Like, subscribe, join, be a part of the show, and don't miss out on the 2023 that we're about to murder.
She wrote.
Merry Christmas, guys. Peace.
You're so quiet. Say something nice. See you on the flip side, folks. That's the awards. We're never going home.
Thank you. Fuck you. Bye.